Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, so it's good to be here. I want to say thank you to Samir for the wonderful introduction. And we'll say Mangalacharya and then we'll speak a little, because they asked me to say a few words about the importance of the Pandava Sena retreats and also a little bit about the Mahabharata. Okay, I think the video was fantastic, by the way. Who made the video?
Casey.
Casey Bhuta? Okay, it was a really, really good video. Okay, and who else? Okay, okay.
And Abhishek.
Abhishek. Quite a few people, it's a really fantastic video. So we'll say Mangalacharya, we'll speak a little, and then we'll just see how the whole evening unfolds from there. So I think you will know the words, so many of you know the words. Mahiyana Timirandasya Yanjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Kadati Swabhadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Shah Shri Rupam Sarvajatam Sadhana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sabhaitam Savadutam Pradina Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sadhana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. So, I had a few thoughts that I felt I could share with you around this topic of the Sena retreat and also this theme that we'll be having this year of the Mahabharata. Who here has heard of the Mahabharata? Just raise your hands. I think most of you, if not all of you, should have. Okay, and how many have read part of the Mahabharata? Anyone? Okay, a few. So, what's the best way to begin this presentation? Okay, so let's start with this point. So every one of us are at a particular point in our lives. And it's so wonderful when we have association with all of you as Pandava Sena, because I can see in this room such amazing talent, skill, power, potential, and you're at a point in your lives where the decisions that you make will basically change the course of your life, and in that way can change the course of so many other people's lives as well. This youth group is entitled Pandava Sena, and therefore, naturally, it reminds us of who the Pandavas were. The Pandavas were the greatest rulers on this planet, some of the greatest rulers on this planet, and they made a difference. When I look into this room, I can see people, many of you, who have all the ingredients to make a real difference, a powerful difference. The Mahabharata is about two families, ultimately. You have the Kauravas and you have the Pandavas. Both of them actually have great previous, let's say, piety. You can't be in a royal family without having some serious quality. But the difference isn't where they were because they were both in royal families. The difference is that one was going up and one was going down. So wherever someone is in their life, that's not such a big issue really. The issue is where those people are actually going. So when we talk about Pandava Sena, when we talk about retreats and so on, it has a lot to do with shaping our future. There was one empirical study about association. It was by a secular author called Jim Rohn, and he wrote a book called The Art of Exceptional Living. Now in the book, he says that every single one of us is the sum total of the 5 people that we spend most of our time with. In other words, just by the empirical study, they come to the same conclusion that's been there in our tradition, which is all about Sangha, about association, about who we associate with, and how that association is in so many ways, shapes and forms determining who we are and what we're going to achieve in the future. Now all of you guys as Sena, you have a very, very powerful mission. Your mission as Pandava Sena is actually to do something, to do some good, to change the entire world. I remember, maybe I'll share this with you, I spoke to one spiritual master years ago because I was thinking about going into politics. And so I was discussing the idea with him. And we looked at it, and his ultimate conclusion, he said, let the youth do it. His whole thing was that the best way that we can support you is to give you time, attention, guidance, association, because you as young people, you have the intelligence, you have the power, you have the energy, you have the time. If you notice, the older people get, the less time that they have. So many other things crowd their space, crowd their life, right? Responsibilities, work, family, so many things. So the revolution really begins with the youth. Before my spiritual master passed away, one of the services that he gave me is I had to write out the 2004 Pandava Sena trip. In 2004, we went to New Vrindavan. So Radha Swami was there, Devotee Swami was there, and Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. And they were giving talks. And one of the things that Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj and Devotee Maharaj mentioned was that you guys are the ones to give the revolution, to make the revolution happen. You guys are the ones who are going to actually make a big difference. And that happens as we gel together and we bond together through especially things like the retreats, where people come and they have a great time. They have a great time to associate and connect with each other, and they are also able to imbibe deeper understanding and knowledge. I personally will tell you honestly, you guys, I see in you guys the hope for the future, not just the future of the movement, but the future of the entire world. And if you look at what's going on in Sena, you guys are leading the world in so many ways in terms of what you're doing. The Mahabharata is a very, very interesting text. So there are many different types of Vedic literature. The Mahabharata is called Itihasa. Itihasa, literally meaning thus it happened. So it's a history. And as we said, it involves these great families. Now, one of the things that I love about the Mahabharata is the quality of the Pandavas. The Pandavas are not your normal Kshatriyas. These personalities are Raj Rishis. That means they are great saintly kings, extremely powerful individuals, and your youth group is named after these people. Bear that point in mind. There's a backdrop to the whole story of the Mahabharata that most people don't know about. So, many of you will have heard of Shikuni, right? Yes or no? Okay. So you hear about Shikuni, the dice game, and so on. But actually, Shikuni was the brother of Gandhari. Gandhari was a lady who was married to Dhritarashtra. And what happened was, when they were young, because Duryodhana, one of the main characters in the Mahabharata, he really hated the Pandavas. So he used to insult Bhima, like your mum, that Draupadi. Oh, sorry, not Draupadi, Kunti. She had more than one husband. What kind of woman is this? Like that. And Bhima got really upset. And then one day, Bhima found out by someone in Shakuni's family about Duryodhana's mum. Because Gandhari, in her astrological chart, it said that she has bad karma for marriage. So it was revealed in her chart that she may remarry. So one of the things that they do in astrology is, if you've got bad karma for marriage, none of the girls need to take notes just here. If you have bad karma for marriage, what they do is they exhaust that karma. So what they may do is they may marry someone to like a pineapple. That exhausts that karma, and then you actually get married to a human being. Seriously, one of the ways around it. So when Bhima found out, then on a future occasion, he actually got back at Duryodhana. He said, "What are you talking about? Your mum was married to a banana tree." Like that. Yeah, seriously. And Duryodhana, he was so infuriated by that. And he knew that the only people who knew about that, the only people was Shakuni's family. So Duryodhana had the entire family of Shakuni imprisoned. And he would give them just enough food each day for one person. Like that. And so practically all of those people, including Shakuni, were dying in this prison. Shakuni's family, they got together and they decided that there's enough food for one person. So who should survive in the family? And they decided that Shakuni should be the one who survives in that family, because he was considered to be the most intelligent of the family members, and that he would avenge that particular family. Interesting, huh? So the whole pastime, the Mahabharata, was very interesting, because Shakuni also knew, he knew that these Pandavas, they're not your normal kings, they're not your normal people. These people were so righteous, so powerful, yet so virtuous, that he knew that they will never fight against Duryodhana's family. Even though Duryodhana hated them, tried to kill them on many occasions, they were so virtuous, they would never fight. So Shakuni knew there's only one situation in which they will fight. The only situation in which I could get them to fight against their cousin brothers is if Draupadi is insulted. He knew two things. One, the Kauravas could only be destroyed by the Pandavas. The Pandavas had that potency that they could destroy the Kauravas. And second, they would only fight if Draupadi was insulted. There's a point that's made in the scripture about karma, that if you insult a chaste woman, the reaction is so powerful that not only will it destroy you, it will destroy your entire dynasty. So Shakuni, he befriended Duryodhana deliberately to keep Duryodhana along a track which would ultimately lead to his own destruction. In the Mahabharata, there were many times when Duryodhana thought that he would not be able to defeat the Pandavas. And especially at those times, guess who came up? Shakuni. No, it's okay, you can do it. In fact, I know how to do it. This is what we'll do. This is how we'll make sure that the Pandavas are destroyed. So sometimes things are not exactly what they seem. Sometimes things are not exactly what they seem. So throughout this whole tale, we learn so many amazing points. The blessing of a literature called like the Mahabharata is that you see the philosophy in action. You see characters, you see their behavior, you see where they end up due to their behavior as well. Does that make some sense? So another main character, another key character in the Mahabharata is Karna. Who's heard of Karna? Yeah, raise your hand if you heard of him. Okay. Karna was actually born also of Kunti, who was the mother of the Pandavas. But Kunti abandoned the child at birth. And many people also feel that Karna was hard done by, because he was a warrior, he was actually a brother to the Pandavas, but he never got the same chance to shine in the way that they did. What many people don't know is that Karna has a past life. In his past life, Karna was a demon named Durga. And he performed austerities, and he received a blessing to have 1,000 layers of armor on his body. So he received the blessing and he became a personality named Sahasra Chakra. And in his past life, he had a fight with Narayan Rishi. Narayan Rishi is an incarnation of Krishna and Arjuna. So in Karna's past life, he fought against both Krishna and Arjuna. The blessing that Karna got when in his past life as Sahasra Chakra was that every time one of the layers of his armor was destroyed, whoever broke through that layer would have to die. Like that. So there was this fight between Sahasra Chakra and Narayan Rishi. And every time they broke through a layer, one of them would die and the other would fight, and then the other would come back to life, and they carried on like that. When it got to the point that he had one layer of armor left, he took shelter of Lord Brahma. I think it was either Lord Brahma or Surya, one of the demigods. And they actually went before Narayan Rishi and said, he's taking shelter of me, so just leave him. I will deliver him to you in the next life. And that's why in the next life as Karna, he was born with armor on his body. These lessons are so instructive. They teach us this same point. You can be in a position, but the question is, are you going up or are you going down? Pandava Sena, from what I can see, you guys are on an upward trend. And you have the power and the blessings not only to move up yourself, but to take a good deal of people with you. Right now, this world is really in need of powerful, spiritual people. Right? And you guys, as a youth, you guys are the ones to make it happen. I'm very serious about that. I remember hearing from my own spiritual master, he made a very interesting point about youth. He said the special thing about the youth is if they're intelligent, they start strong. He told me that. He said because if they start strong, it sets a foundation for you for the rest of your life. And you can see in many of the older Sena, I think Nanda Gopa's around here somewhere, right? Where's Nanda? It's upstairs? Okay. Nanda, Sandipan Krishna, Naveen, so many of these people, they're doing amazing things. Very amazing things. And it's that upward trajectory which is started in the youth. What you do now is many times more powerful than what you do in the future. You guys are like you have a vehicle. You have a vehicle, you start on the journey. If you start strong, if your vehicle is traveling at 1,000 miles an hour, it starts strong. If on your journey you ever hit hurricane winds, moving in the opposite direction, from 1,000 you go down to 700, but you're still going forward because you started so strong that whatever you hit, you still have some momentum. Does that make sense? And if you don't start strong in both your secular duties and your spiritual practices, your sadhana, then when troubles or difficulties hit, they can stop you or they can even push you back. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So you are at a particular point in your life where what you do, who you associate with and how you do things makes all the difference. And I mean all the difference. If you could see it on another level, looking in this room, it's like brimming with power, intelligence, energy. All you need is to bring in more and more of that spiritual wisdom. And you guys will be able to change the entire face of human history. Factually speaking. I heard in one lecture something very interesting. They were talking about how after one war, where the Americans were fighting the Japanese, that the Americans were so disgusted at this idea of the kamikaze culture. Because there was this idea that the Japanese were prepared to die for something that they believed in. You understand? So they were so disgusted with it, they thought, how can we break the spirit of these people so that they will never ever do something like this again? And they actually started to socially engineer the culture. And they introduced console games, right, and computer games. Because they realized that you can sublimate the fighting spirit that the culture has by making them docile. So instead of people who will actually do something in reality, you just divert their attention away into computer games, console games, so they'll feel like they're doing something really powerful, or they're just sitting in front of a screen all day pressing buttons. Can you believe that? So the opposite also happens. When we touch base with literatures like the Mahabharata, when we go to retreats, we have two types of association. We have the external association, so we'll have Satyananda Maharaj, Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj, so many personalities who will associate with on the retreat. But we also have the internal association. That is, the Pandavas, these personalities, if you read about them and think about them, it will affect who you become as an individual. The whole world is looking to understand about character formation. They don't know the science. They think it's just about being a nice person. No, it's about being extremely powerful, strong, wise, intelligent people who can do tremendous things for themselves and tremendous things for others. And that is exactly what the Pandava Sena group stands for. So we're encouraging you, do everything you can to really take your youth and turn it into something very, very powerful. I was talking to Sundarananda just before, well, just a bit early this evening. And I was reflecting on something he was saying about association. And I was seeing that if we can do something to serve you, you guys will be world-class people. Factually speaking, you're already world-class, because how many people know about Krishna? And of those people who know about Krishna, how many people actually do something about it? Very, very rare people. So you guys are very special. You wouldn't even believe it. And if you could see your future, the potential that you have, and what you can be doing in the future, it will take your breath away. So we're very, very lucky to be able to associate with you guys. I tell you that honestly. You know, I was saying that I feel that when I'm around you guys, it makes me feel young. Like that. Which is kind of funny because sometimes people wonder how old I am. Like that. It's always sounds oil of you, you know what I'm saying? This thing will be coming at the end. But it's very, very powerful. So as we were saying, people like Naveen, Sanipan, they're doing great things. And it starts with the youth. Youth have vitality. You mix that with wisdom and spirituality, you can do tremendous things for the entire world. I mean, really serious differences. So we'd encourage you, don't waste time. That doesn't mean you shouldn't have a fun time. It should be fun, it should be dynamic, it should be creative. But it should be fun, dynamic and creative for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Our movement stands for taking that which is mundane or material or limited and transforming that into that which is eternal and spiritual. If you use the time that you have to have a great but spiritual Krishna conscious experience, you will look back at your life and by the time you leave this world, you will have no regrets. Factually speaking. I remember towards the end of Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj's life, he was my spiritual master, when he was leaving, one of the things he said is, I can die peacefully because I know I've done the best that I can. I know I've done the right thing. How many people can leave their body like that? This world is full of people with regrets. They're always regretting. I regret that I didn't do this. I regret that I didn't do that. But if you take your spiritual life and you take it seriously and you enjoy it, relish it, and take that youthful energy and use it, you'll never have any regrets. Because factually speaking, you'll be so blissfully happy and you'll feel so accomplished that you'll be able to give that same energy to other people. So you're at a special time in your lives. I really mean that. You are at a special time in your lives, and when we have these retreats, it's a time to come, re-energize ourselves and to become inspired more and more to keep our eye on the goal. The Mahabharata is full of powerful spiritual formulas for success. One of the formulas which is given is that in order to be successful, one needs focus, endeavor, and Krishna's mercy. If you have these three things in any particular area of life, you'll be successful. Focus, endeavor, and Krishna's mercy. Factually speaking, that means that every one of you guys in this room, you can have it all. If you use what you have for Krishna's service, you can factually have more than you can possibly imagine. So I wanted to just share a few things in relation to that. Spoken for about 25 minutes. And let me see, is there anything else that would be particularly useful to kind of share with you guys at the present moment? No, I think this is actually good. Take your youth, take these retreats, take your association. Seriously. Enjoy your youth, but use it to set yourself up for the future. Because you'll see that in the coming decades there'll be different challenges and tests that people have. And how you've taken that time and energy to really deepen your spiritual life, that will make you so strong that half the tests that you experience, you won't even know that you're experiencing them. Because you just pass these tests very, very easily. And maybe we'll end on this last point. This world is like a living classroom. It's like a living classroom that changes depending on whatever lessons you need to learn. So there was one point that was being made by one Prabhupada disciple, and he was saying that, for example, if someone in their past life was spiritual, but they were very self-centered, it was all about their spiritual progress, and they didn't care about anyone else's spiritual progress, then what may happen to such a person is that when they have children, they have a soul takes birth in their family who's very needy, because Krishna wants that balance. So therefore you have a very selfish individual, and then a child takes birth in their family, which forces them to be selfless, which forces them to give spirituality to other people, which forces them to be concerned for people more than themselves. That principle for me is very powerful. What it says to me is that my life is going to adjust according to what I am. You understand the point? If I am careful enough, intelligent enough to learn the lessons of the Mahabharata, to use this understanding, to take it deeply into me, and to live life to the best possible way, that means Krishna conscious life, there are certain tests and obstacles I don't even have to experience. But to the extent that I don't take these lessons to heart, to that extent life is going to adjust in order to bring that lesson to me. Because ultimately my mind is like a magnet. It's drawing or attracting different circumstances based upon what I need to learn in order to become spiritual, in order to become Krishna conscious. So that if someone's intelligent, if someone's wise, if someone's dynamic, you can use the scriptures to deeply learn the lessons now. Yeah? I guarantee you it will change the entire course of your life. So I want to end by asking for your blessings. I have a lot of faith in you. I know that you guys are going to do amazing things. It's guaranteed. Guaranteed you'll do amazing things. I'm excited that we can serve you in that journey. And I look forward to hearing so much more about your successes, your personal successes, and how you're following Srila Prabhupada's mood and impacting upon the entire world and the entire history of human civilization to make people more spiritual, more Krishna conscious. Because everyone needs it. You have it, and you can use it for your benefit and for the benefit of the entire world. Thank you very much for your time. Hare Krishna.